Alrighty everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be looking at a hunter build that uses Mothkeeper's wraps without Xderas. This build comes as requested by Ali, so I hope you enjoy. We're going to start out, of course, with our abilities, starting with our super, Silk Strike. This is our only strand super, but is actually really good as a roaming super as it does really high single target damage with its light attacks, and its heavy attacks can be used for great ad clear. It also gives you plenty of grapple charges while you're in super. Next, we're going to want to use Marksman's Dodge, so we can instantly reload our currently equipped weapon. You have your choice of jump, and our melee, Threaded Spike. Now this is our only melee, but it's pretty fun to use. You throw it out like a rope dart, and it severs any target that it hits. And every target that it does hit will give you bonus melee energy when you catch the rope dart at the right time. And for our grenade, you can use whichever grenade you choose, because your grenade doesn't actually matter because of our exotic. Our exotic will take over our grenade slot with its own unique grenade, which has a standardized cooldown. So none of these grenade options will shorten the cooldown. Now, let's move over to our aspects, starting out with Widow's Silk. You have an additional grenade charge, and your grapple hook creates a grapple tangle at the grapple point. Grapple, grapple, grapple. So this is a pretty straightforward aspect. It gives us an extra grenade charge. Our exotic already gives us 2 grenade charges at base. But with this aspect, we can take that up to 3 grenade charges, and that's pretty cool. And for our next aspect, we're going to be using Whirling Maelstrom. Destroying a tangle will weave a violent, writhing mass of strand fibers. The strand mass seeks out and damages targets, emitting unraveling projectiles when it defeats them. So with this aspect, we can turn our tangles into an angry strand fidget spinner that goes around killing targets for us. What I really like about this is that all we have to do is throw it or destroy it, and then it will start passively killing stuff on its own. It also can unravel targets, which can be good for some good throwaway damage on high value targets. Now let's go to our fragments, starting out with Thread of Continuity. Suspend, unravel, and sever effects applied to targets have increased durations. So this is pretty self-explanatory, but this fragment just applies general duration buffs for all of our strand debuffs. And next up, we have Thread of Generation. Dealing damage generates grenade energy. Again, self-explanatory, but for just dealing any source of damage, we're going to get grenade energy back, which is very nice considering we now have 3 grenades that we need to keep up. However, it does take away -10 from our discipline stat. Next up, Thread of Ascent. Activating your grenade ability reloads your equipped weapon and grants bonus airborne effectiveness and handling for a short duration. So here this is nice for just an instant reload to our currently equipped weapon, but also for providing a few general buffs to our weapons. It also gives us a +10 to our mobility stat. And rounding it out, we have Thread of Warding. Picking up an Orb of Power grants Woven Mail. So let's close with a simple one, right? Woven Mail is a very nice source of damage reduction. So picking up an Orb of Power is a very easy way to activate this. However, it does take away -10 from our resilience stat. Now let's go over to our exotics. But we're going to start out with the armor piece this time, and that's going to be Mothkeeper's wraps. Our trait, Winged Eclipse, reads, your grenade becomes a cage of loyal moths that release on impact and fly toward the nearest target or ally. If they reach a target, they detonate in a blinding explosion. If they reach an ally, the moths grant your ally a void overshield. So here, hunters have a pretty unique supportive exotic. Especially in a pinch, it's nice to throw one of these moths at the ground to give yourself a full void overshield if both of them hit you. Blinding moths can also be nice for stunning unstoppable champions. Now each grenade throw releases 2 moths that can have any combination of the properties depending on their proximity to allies or targets. But there's an even more offensive way to use our grenade, and that's with our next exotic, Tessellation. Our intrinsic property Undecidable reads, this weapon, adapts its damage type to match your equipped grenade. Final blows grant grenade energy. Our trait, property Irreducible reads, consume your grenade to load a large projectile, that generates an elemental explosion on impact. And our catalyst reads, targets near the blast property Irreducible are afflicted, with an elemental effect matching your equipped grenade's damage type. So basically this weapon has a few perks merged into it. The explosion from the supercharged shot basically has chain reaction, and final blows grant a very generous chunk of grenade energy. And with just about 4 kills, I can regenerate my entire grenade. Now for some reason, the Mothkeepers override the element of your grenade, and it just turns this weapon arc, which means the elemental debuff applied is going to be blind, which will let it stun unstoppable champions. Now the supercharged shot from this exotic deals a lot of damage, about 116,000, which having 3 of these shots sounds really good for some single target high damage. Now let's look at some of our mods, starting out with some seasonal ones. We're going to want to use Elemental Siphon for tangle drops on matching element final blows, Threaded Blast for a large explosion when breaking a tangle with a strand weapon, and Shield Crush for melee buffs while Woven Mail or Void Overshield is active. As for some of our armor mods, you're going to want to be using Arc Siphons and Arc Surges to benefit our Tessellation. So, for a gameplay loop, essentially, you want to consume your grenades to supercharge your Tessellation so that it can deal massive amounts of damage and add clear. So as long as you're getting kills, you'll continue to regenerate grenade energy. You can also throw the moss at the ground if you need an instant overshield for you or your allies. Because of the amount of grenade charges we have, as long as you're getting kills, you should constantly have grenades up and at the ready. So feel free to use supercharged shots or moth grenades whenever you need. And any kills with your strand weapons or throwing spike will spawn in a tangle that can be destroyed to spawn in a whirling maelstrom that will passively get kills for you and unravel targets. So that's the build, but before we get to the showcase, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And with all that out of the way, let's go right to the showcase. Alrighty, let's see what this build can do. Look at that, I'm using the Mothkeepers on the Moth Yards. So I'm like 99% sure that there was a thing that said 64 wipes while I was recording the section talking about the build. I accidentally left that in there from one of my Twitch live streams where I am currently trying to solo Nezarec. But self-promo aside, let's get back to this build. That's what I like right there. And this guy's blinded, so he can't even do anything afterwards. Like right there, that's an easy name. And whenever it looks like we're in a pinch, throw out some moths and give our teammates some healing. And check this out. Stunned. I don't know how he got suspended. I think a teammate did that, but the arc blind from this stunned him. Let's throw some arc moths over there. They're pretty good at seeking out targets. Let me get a big group. Let me get a big group. There we go. Beautiful. And, you know, I always upgrade the same one. But how about I get you a friend instead?
Hi, friend.
Jeez. Nice part is I already got one in the chamber. Let's get you off right there. Boom. Another one. There. Boom. Right there. You know, the witch always finds a way to do it too. Look at that. Look at that. Most schematic kills. That's how alrighty gaming builds go. Alrighty. That was the build. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you next time. Stay alrighty.